Silence makes many people uneasy, not because something is wrong, but because something is finally being heard. Before the mind finds something to say, before the world fills the space again, there is a moment where you are left alone with yourself, and that moment feels dangerous to many. If you are listening now, and silence makes you restless, stay here. Do not rush away from this feeling, because the discomfort you feel in silence is not caused by silence itself. It is caused by what silence reveals. Take a slow breath. Let the body remain still. Let the sound around you fade just a little. The Buddha taught that the mind fears silence, because silence removes distraction. When there is noise, the mind can hide. When there is conversation, the mind can perform. When there is activity, the mind can pretend it is moving forward. But in silence, there is nowhere to escape. Notice what happens inside you when nothing is being said. The body may tighten, the breath may shorten, the mind may rush to create thoughts. This is not weakness, this is conditioning. From a young age, most people are taught to fill space, to respond quickly, to speak even when nothing needs to be said. Silence is mistaken for emptiness. But the Buddha saw it differently. He taught that silence is not empty. It is full of awareness. People fear silence because silence reflects the truth back to them, and many are not ready to see it. Listen carefully now. The discomfort in silence does not come from stillness. It comes from unresolved inner noise, unfinished emotions, unexamined fear, unacknowledged grief, unspoken truths. Noise keeps these hidden. Silence invites them forward. This is why people talk too much, why they scroll endlessly, why they fill every quiet moment with sound. Not because they enjoy noise, but because they fear what emerges. Long ago, in India, a young disciple approached the Buddha. He was intelligent, well-spoken, respected among the others, but he avoided silence. Whenever the group sat quietly, he shifted, cleared his throat, found reasons to speak. The Buddha noticed. One evening, as the sun lowered and the air grew still, the Buddha asked him, "Why do you leave whenever silence arrives?" The disciple bowed and answered, "Master, when there is silence, my thoughts become loud. My chest feels tight. I feel uncomfortable without knowing why." The Buddha nodded. He said, "When water is stirred, it appears cloudy, but when left untouched, it becomes clear." Silence does not disturb the mind. It reveals what was already moving. Let this teaching settle. Silence is like still water. It shows what is beneath the surface. If the surface has been restless for a long time, stillness will feel unfamiliar, even threatening. This is why silence makes people uncomfortable. Not because it harms them, but because it removes their protection. Stay with this understanding. You may notice now that your mind wants to comment, to judge, to move on. Gently bring it back. The Buddha taught that awareness begins when we stop escaping ourselves. Silence is not asking you to change. It is asking you to notice. Notice the urge to speak. Notice the urge to distract. Notice the urge to avoid. These urges are not enemies. They are signals. They show where attention has been neglected. In silence, the mind loses its usual roles. It can no longer impress, explain, or control how it is perceived. It must simply be. And for many, that feels unbearable. But the Buddha taught that what feels unbearable at first is often what brings freedom, because silence does not judge. It does not criticize. It does not demand. It only reflects. What you see in that reflection depends on how long you have avoided looking. Take another slow breath. Let the silence around you exist without trying to change it. You do not need to like it. You only need to stay. This is where understanding begins. And this is why silence, though uncomfortable, is one of the greatest teachers. Stay here. Sometimes silence enters a room, and people feel uneasy, not because something bad is happening, but because nothing is happening. Silence removes the noise that usually protects the mind. It takes away the familiar sounds, the small talk, the constant movement of words, and what remains is awareness. Stay with this moment. Do not turn away from it. When the Buddha spoke of silence, he did not describe it as emptiness. He described it as a mirror. In silence, the mind sees itself. Most people are not afraid of silence. They are afraid of what silence reveals. In the early days of the Buddha's teaching, there was a disciple known for his restlessness. He spoke often, asked many questions, filled every pause with sound. One evening, as the sun was setting, the disciple followed the Buddha on a quiet walk. No teaching was given. No words were spoken. Minutes passed, then longer moments. The disciple's breath became shallow, his steps uneasy. Finally, he said, "Master, why do you say nothing?" The Buddha stopped, looked at him gently, and asked, "When the lake is disturbed by wind, can you see your reflection clearly?" The disciple said, "No. The surface is always moving." The Buddha replied, "Silence is when the wind settles, and the mind begins to see itself. Let this teaching rest inside you." Silence feels uncomfortable because it removes distraction. In noise, the mind escapes itself. In silence, there is nowhere to go. Thoughts begin to rise, memories, unfinished emotions, unspoken fears. This is why people fill silence quickly, with words, with laughter, with phones, with anything that prevents stillness. Listen closely. Silence is not judging you. It is showing you. The Buddha taught, suffering does not come from what we hear. It comes from what we avoid hearing within. Silence allows the inner voice to speak. And for many, that voice has been ignored for a long time. Take a slow breath here. Notice what happens when nothing needs to be said. Perhaps the body tightens. Perhaps the chest feels exposed. Do not resist this. This is not danger. It is contact. In Indian tradition, there is a story of a young monk who feared his evening meditation. During the day, he was cheerful, busy, surrounded by others. But when night fell and the monastery grew quiet, his heart raced. He told his teacher, "When the world becomes silent, my thoughts become loud." The teacher smiled and said, "During the day, you run from your mind. At night, you finally meet it." Silence does not create fear. It uncovers it. This is an important truth. People feel uncomfortable in silence because silence dissolves identity. Without words, who are you? Without reaction, who are you? Without performance, who are you? The ego depends on sound, on response, on recognition. Silence offers none of this. The Buddha often remained silent, not because he had nothing to say, but because silence teaches directly. In silence, there is no argument, no defense, no story, only awareness. Stay here. Do not rush this understanding. Silence reveals the layers we carry, the roles we play, the masks we maintain. This is why silence between two people can feel more intimate than conversation. There is nothing to hide behind. Notice how your body responds to this truth. Perhaps there is a softening, perhaps a slight release. The discomfort of silence is the discomfort of honesty. The Buddha taught, truth is simple, but the mind is complex. Silence strips away complexity. It shows what remains. This is why silence feels powerful and why it feels threatening. Those who avoid silence are often avoiding themselves. Those who learn to stay in silence begin to feel at home. Let this sink gently. Silence is not emptiness. It is presence. It is the space where wisdom begins to breathe. And as you sit with this understanding, allow the mind to settle, like dust falling in still air. Nothing needs to be added. Nothing needs to be removed. Just remain. The next understanding will arise on its own. Sometimes silence feels heavier than noise, not because it is empty, but because it is full of what we avoid, full of what we have not faced, full of what has been speaking quietly inside us. Stay with this feeling for a moment. Do not rush to fill the space. Take a slow breath and let the stillness remain. In the previous reflections, we saw how silence removes the masks, how it reveals the restlessness of the mind, how people become uncomfortable when there is nothing to distract them from themselves. Now we move a little deeper. The Buddha taught that the mind is like a lake. When the surface is constantly stirred, we see only ripples and reflections. But when the water becomes still, the depth becomes visible. Silence is that stillness, and that is why it unsettles so many people. Because in silence, the mind begins to show what it has been carrying. Old memories, unspoken regrets, hidden fears, unacknowledged desires. These do not shout, they whisper. And silence gives them room. There is a story from ancient India of a disciple who asked the Buddha, "Why do people talk so much, even when there is nothing meaningful to say?" The Buddha did not answer immediately. He invited the disciple to sit beside him, under a tree. As the sun began to lower, they sat together, without speaking. At first, the disciple felt calm, then restless, then uncomfortable. His thoughts became louder. His body shifted. His breath shortened. After a long while, the Buddha asked, "What did you notice?" The disciple replied, "Master, when there was no talking, my mind became noisy." The Buddha nodded and said, "People speak not because they have something to say, but because they are afraid of what arises when they stop. Let this teaching settle. Silence does not create discomfort. It reveals it. Most people believe that their unease comes from the outside world, from situations, from others, from circumstances. But the Buddha showed that unease often comes from resistance to what is already within. Silence removes the escape. No conversation to hide behind. No sound to lean on. No role to perform. Only awareness. This is why silence can feel threatening. It asks nothing, but it exposes everything. Notice how this appears in daily life. A pause in a conversation, and someone rushes to fill it. A quiet room, and the urge to check a phone. A moment alone, and the need for background noise. These are not habits of comfort. They are habits of avoidance. The Buddha taught that the mind seeks movement when it fears seeing itself clearly. Silence is a mirror, and not everyone is ready to look. There is another teaching about a man who came to the Buddha complaining of anxiety. He said, "Master, when I am alone, my thoughts overwhelm me. When I am with others, I feel relief." The Buddha asked, "What happens when you sit quietly?" The man replied, "I feel exposed, as if something is watching me." The Buddha said gently, "That is not something watching. That is you finally watching yourself." This is a powerful truth. Silence brings awareness, and awareness dissolves illusions. But before it dissolves them, it makes them visible. This visibility can feel uncomfortable, especially to a mind accustomed to noise. In Buddhist psychology, this is not a problem. It is a doorway. The Buddha taught that suffering begins not when pain arises, But when we resist what arises, silence brings sensations, thoughts, emotions. If we resist them, discomfort grows. If we allow them, clarity follows. This is why monks practice silence, not to escape the world, but to meet it honestly. In silence, they learn to sit with craving without acting on it. They learn to observe fear without running. They learn to let thoughts pass without becoming them. Silence trains the mind to remain present, and presence is deeply unsettling to a mind built on distraction. Notice this now. As you listen, there may be a subtle quiet form. In that quiet, perhaps a thought arises. I should be doing something. This feels strange. Why is there no music? These thoughts are natural. Do not judge them. Just notice. This noticing is the beginning of freedom. The Buddha never said that silence is comfortable. He said, it is truthful, and truth is not always easy, but it is always liberating. There is a metaphor often used in Indian teachings of a dark room that has been cluttered for years. When the light is turned on, the dust becomes visible. The dust was always there. The light did not create it. Silence is that light, and discomfort is simply the dust being seen. When people avoid silence, they are not avoiding quiet. They are avoiding clarity, and clarity demands responsibility. Responsibility for one's thoughts, one's reactions, one's inner life. This is why silence feels powerful. It returns authority from the external world back to the mind. The Buddha taught that peace does not come from controlling the environment. It comes from understanding the mind. Silence is one of the most direct paths to that understanding. If you have ever felt uneasy in silence, know this. It does not mean something is wrong. It means something important is waiting to be seen. Stay with this awareness. Let the breath be gentle. Let the body be still. Silence is not asking you to change. It is inviting you to observe. And observation is the beginning of wisdom. In the next reflection, we will explore how silence not only reveals discomfort, but also dissolves it. How what first feels heavy can become spacious, and how silence, when understood, becomes a refuge rather than a threat. Sometimes silence feels heavier than noise. Sometimes the quiet in a room feels more uncomfortable than an argument, and many people do not understand why. They say they enjoy peace, but when silence actually appears, their mind begins to stir, their body tightens, their thoughts grow louder. The Buddha understood this deeply. He taught that silence does not create discomfort. Silence only reveals what was already moving inside. Stay with this moment. Do not rush. Let the quiet between these words be felt. Silence makes people uncomfortable because it removes distraction, and is how the mind avoids seeing itself. When there is sound, conversation, music, endless talking, the mind stays outward. But when silence comes, the mind turns inward, and not everyone is ready to meet what lives there. In one ancient teaching, a disciple approached the Buddha and said, "Master, when I sit in silence, my mind becomes restless. Thoughts arise without invitation. Memories return. Fears whisper. I feel more disturbed in silence than I do in the busy world." The Buddha did not correct him. He nodded gently and said, "You are not disturbed by silence. You are disturbed by what silence uncovers." Let this sink in slowly. Silence is like a clear lake. When the water is still, you can see the bottom. But if the bottom is muddy, the stillness reveals it. Noise is like stirring the water. It hides what is beneath. Many people prefer noise, not because they love sound, but because sound keeps them from seeing their own depth. Silence removes the mask, and the ego feels exposed. Notice how this appears in daily life. People feel awkward in quiet rooms. They rush to speak, to fill space, to explain, to joke, not because words are needed, but because silence feels like being seen. Silence asks a question without words. Who are you when there is nothing to perform? This is why silence feels threatening. The Buddha taught that the self we protect is often made of habit and avoidance. Silence weakens that protection. There is another story of a monk who lived alone in the forest. Villagers once asked him, "Do you not feel lonely, sitting in silence all day?" The monk smiled and replied, "I am only lonely when my mind is crowded." When the villagers heard this, they were confused because they had never known a quiet mind. Silence becomes uncomfortable when the mind is full of unresolved emotion, unspoken grief, unacknowledged fear, unexamined desire. Noise keeps these things asleep. Silence wakes them. This is why people avoid it. Listen carefully now. Silence is not empty. It is full of truth, and truth can feel sharp when we are used to softness. The Buddha taught that suffering continues, not because pain exists, but because we refuse to look at it directly. Silence is direct. It does not distract. It does not negotiate. It simply shows. And the mind that has been running suddenly has nowhere to go. This is why silence feels uncomfortable in relationships as well. When two people sit in silence, there is no script, no role, no protection, only presence. And presence reveals distance, or closeness, or tension. Words often hide what silence exposes. Many arguments begin because silence was avoided for too long. If people could sit in silence together, without fear, many conflicts would dissolve before forming. The Buddha once said, "In the still mind, the truth becomes gentle. But before it becomes gentle, it feels intense." This is the phase most people avoid. They leave silence too early. They never stay long enough for the mind to soften, for awareness to deepen, for discomfort to turn into clarity. Silence first reveals the storm, then it calms it, but only if you remain. Most people leave during the storm. Take a slow breath. Feel how silence feels in your body right now. Is there tightness, restlessness, an urge to move? Do not judge it. Just notice. This is not danger. It is adjustment. The mind is learning to be with itself. Silence is not meant to punish you. It is meant to free you. But freedom feels unfamiliar at first. The Buddha did not ask his disciples to fear silence. He asked them to enter it gently, again and again, until the mind stopped running and discovered that silence was not an enemy, but a refuge. Stay with this understanding. Let it settle. Silence is uncomfortable, only until it becomes home. Silence is not empty. It is full of truth. By now, you may have begun to feel it. The stillness that once felt uncomfortable is starting to feel different, not threatening, not awkward, but revealing. The Buddha taught that silence is the mirror the mind tries to avoid, because in silence, there is nothing to hide behind, no story to perform, no role to maintain, no explanation to offer, only awareness. And awareness can feel unsettling to a mind that has learned to survive through noise, through talking, through pleasing, through reacting. Many people fear silence because silence does not respond. It does not approve. It does not reject. It simply reflects. When you sit in silence, you begin to notice how often your mind reaches outward to fill space, to be acknowledged, to escape itself. This reaching is not a flaw. It is conditioning. The Buddha never blamed the mind. He observed it. He saw that discomfort in silence is not caused by silence itself. It is caused by attachment to identity. Who am I when I am not speaking? Who am I when no one is responding? Who am I when there is nothing to do? These questions arise quietly, but they carry weight. And the mind, uncomfortable with uncertainty, rushes to fill the space. But silence asks nothing of you. It does not demand answers. It does not require effort. It simply invites presence. There is a story told in ancient India of a disciple who believed enlightenment would come through constant questioning. He followed the Buddha everywhere, always asking, always seeking. One day, the Buddha stopped walking. He stood silently, looking at the sky. The disciple waited, then waited longer. Finally, he asked, "Master, why are you not teaching today?" The Buddha replied, "I am teaching." The disciple looked confused. The Buddha said, "You are just not listening yet." That moment stayed with the disciple, because for the first time, he realized that truth does not always speak. Sometimes it waits. Silence makes people uncomfortable because it removes distraction. And when distraction fades, what remains is the self. Not the self we show, but the self we carry. The unprocessed feelings, the unspoken grief, the desires we never admitted. Silence does not create these. It reveals them. And revelation is the first step toward freedom. The Buddha taught that liberation does not come from avoiding discomfort. It comes from understanding it. When silence feels heavy, stay. When it feels awkward, breathe. When it feels exposed, observe. Do not label it as good or bad. Let it be a teacher. Silence teaches patience because it cannot be rushed. It teaches honesty because it cannot be negotiated. It teaches humility because it offers no praise. And slowly, without force, the mind begins to soften. The need to fill space weakens. The urge to explain fades, and something deeper emerges. Stillness. Not as absence, but as presence. The Buddha did not ask his disciples to speak less. He asked them to listen more, to the breath, to the body, to the moment. Because in true listening, there is no fear, only clarity. If silence has made you uncomfortable, it does not mean something is wrong with you. It means you are standing at the doorway of awareness. And awareness, though unfamiliar, is gentle. It does not harm, it heals. Remain here, just a little longer. Let the silence hold you, instead of resisting it. You do not need to become someone else. You do not need to fix anything. Simply be present. And in this presence, the mind learns something it was never taught. That peace does not arrive through noise. It arrives when nothing needs to be said. May silence become your refuge, not your fear. May stillness feel safe, not empty. May your mind rest, without needing to escape. May awareness replace discomfort, and understanding replace resistance. May silence reveal not your weakness, but your depth. Namo Amitabha.